Welcome back everyone to Welstopia. We are back here in the Greater Temple. And apparently there is a slime chunk somewhere around here because I'm hearing slimes, I think, somewhere in there. Trouble with slime chunks is that you can't get rid of them simply by lighting the area up. So they are a real pain to deal with. Today we are going to handle the air wing. So therefore this is what we had for the water. So let's do the same thing on the air. Let's start with the floor. And this one's different in that I don't have to really do much in the way of opening it up because it's already open. The trick is now actually more filling than of opening. So we want to get ourselves a nice and even floor here. And then I can work on this. This is going to go 3 sections down instead of the 4 because we go 1 viewer each time as we do this. There we go, and let's go more on this. Now I've been using this area as a way in and out to various other parts of the area recently, going all the way through here, using this in order to get around. I've taken out those extra stairs I made and all the stuff, and I have other ways in order to get to all of those. That's what I've been doing between episodes. So let me now cover this all up so that the only thing that's going to be spawning around there hopefully will be a bunch of slimes, because I know there's also a slime chunk around here. This tells me that I'm not exactly enjoying building so far down, because it looks like when you build way down, yeah, slimes. Since the theme here will be white, we will be using polished diorite here, where we go 4-1, 4-1, 4-1 for the Marine there. Then we have to come up with 3, 4 for that, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 for that. That means we'll need 1 more for the floor for the corridor section. Let's pop that out. And now we have to worry about the light. Now, I am going to be using end rods here, but the question is what to do about the floor. So the best thing I can think about to do for the floor will be to use 2 of these here. Use the polished diorite down here. Ooh. That's not going to come out right no matter what I do, right? Okay, so I have to go 2 down. Polished diorite there. Well, for all 4 sides, like this is going to be, well, I was going to say expensive with the diorite, but it's not like polished diorite is anything particularly rare. Gets us up here. Can't I? Oh, forget it. I'll just have to despawn in the end because there's no way I'm going to get that back. Well, okay, there is a way to get it back, but not worth it. So therefore, I could do that. That would be my light. And I could do that 2 more times. For the walls, I'll be using white glazed terracotta course for the inner part, but for the outer part, I was thinking maybe using regular diorite, see how that looks. Or I may have to come up with something else for it, maybe something like white concrete powder or something like that. Well, that's how it looks so far. And of course we'll go in as for our glazed terracotta. Let's see, is that the way I wanted it? Yeah, it is actually the way I want it. I sometimes forget to fill this in. I want to make sure I have that filled in there, because when I forget, things could potentially spawn within. Let me make a couple more of these and maybe that will decide. Now, I separate these. Of course, I separate these with those. Let's try another round. And that'll give me an idea of what the border should be like, whether the border looks fine. The border does look, well, I don't want to use Escal's word. Escal doesn't like diorite at all. He's infamous for his dislike of diorite. Running joke on Hermitcraft. Let's see. But yeah, there are times when the darkness in diorite just doesn't fit in. Now, I was hoping to avoid using polished, but let's have another look at this with polished diorite. Let's see if that looks better in this case. Well, it might look better if I don't have those duplicates. That does look, I think that looks a lot better. The trouble is that now it's the same texture as the floor, and I've been trying to avoid using the exact same texture because here you can see I've been using the prismarine brick and then the concrete powder. Here I'm using dirt and then mushroom. So I've been trying to use something different for each one of them. There are other options with white. I wonder about quartz. Here's some concrete powder. And let's try this. Well, and let's compare this to quartz. See how this quartz. There we go. Now I don't think bone block would look right, so therefore I haven't not even going to bother trying that. There are some cases where it works really well. I think this is not going to be one. Ooh. I think I found it. Quartz is expensive. Fortunately, this isn't the longest one I've got. But I think in this case it'll work, and I think I got a little bit of quartz I could spare for this particular project. Of course, I'll need it on both sides, but yeah. I think I should have just enough in order to complete everything. If not, well, there's another trip for that fun little place, the Nether, in order to get more of it. I just remembered one more candidate, and that is iron. I can see that's not going to work already because stripes are the same reason why I rejected one earlier when I considered using wood for it, and that is just too much in one direction on the flow there. So therefore, we will skip that one and just use quartz all the way through. For up here, we'll of course have our usual spruce up on top, since that is a common theme, is to have the same roof for them for all four of the sides. And of course in the middle of that we will have our usual stone slabs up there. So that should then give us a complete corridor. But as you know, the corridor is only half of this build. The other half will be the rain room in here, and the question is, what should we do with it? Hold on, that's not quite right. I don't use spruce for all of the stairs, for all the corridors. I use a wood of an appropriate color, and in that case that will be birch for the case of the air area. I have to ponder on that for a little while. Birch is obviously closer to the color scheme here. But maybe the contrast would work. I have to ponder on that. I have cut this out so that we can have a 7 by 7 room, similar to what we did over at the water section. Now I have this, of course, 8 there because I'm going to have walls, of course, coming out. So what I'll do is I'll have this side here is going to be, I was thinking about using diorite, but I think that because of the way we come here, maybe I'll just start out with the stone here, come out like that, and for the rest of the walls, then we can use, should I use diorite all around here, or should I use the stone brick around here? Let's see what happens if I do all the walls in the stone brick and the floor and ceiling in diorite and see what happens. Here we are. We have diorite on the floor and ceiling, and we have stone slabs here. Now, we do need some light though, so what I'm going to do is I am going to be placing some end rods into these locations right here, and they'll provide the light. So we're nice and bright. And then I'm going to cover this all with glass, which is why it's one level below the floor there. Now, for the corners, for the edges on the top and bottom, I am going to use clear glass. Like so, and then up here same thing, but I haven't quite decided what to use for the rest, and I have a choice of either using clear glass for it, but I think that might be too visible, and what I'm going to do is try seeing what white stained glass would look. How that would look for this. Let's try this on the floor first. There we go. Well, I think I'll replace these 3 here also with. I think the white stained glass does win out, and I'll just have to replace that also with, because I want the exposed glass to all be white stained glass. It was just the edges that weren't going to be exposed I wanted to change to the clear. So let me try that. This is the result. It looks a bit on the abstract side, but then we are talking about the element of air, and that's always something that's hard to see, shall you say? And to make things look a little bit more weird, you're going to be putting a block of iron right there. Let's have it have one of those coming out of there. I don't think there's a good way for me to see. I want to put the end rod at the bottom of this, like there. Okay, good. Oh, like that. Actually, then my idea of having the light where I put it there then might have just become obsolete, because that probably will give us plenty of light for the entire room, so I didn't have to really play those games there. So I'll go and remove that little bit and see how that looks in light-wise. And this is the result. We now have that floor nice and even, and we have this strange little contraption in the center. As I said before, it's a bit on the abstract side, bit on the weird side, but I think it fits the element of air. With that, the air branch is complete. Here we are with what we finished up before, and all the way through. It's very bright, which I think will be fitting with air. And as we used an abstract one here, we used, well, maybe art would be a poor word for it, but not utilitarian, but something to behold. A fountain there for the water. We had a utilitarian build, a farm for earth. And now we are left with fire, and my plans there is for a very utilitarian build. And we can have a look at that next time. But before we do that, I think I need to get a little bit more of the ceiling open so that we could have a path going into there. I also need to think of something special that I should do for this location. Now you may be wondering, what's so special about this location right here? Well, if I move forward slightly, you'll see that now I've got some protection here. I've got the protection and the regeneration icons because this tree right here, of course, is directly beneath the beacon at the center of my base. So therefore, whenever I'm past that area, we can almost think it as the blessing of the pine, since the pine's directly below it. So they could be thinking that the pine, of course, is the source of the buffs, rather than, of course, the beacon that's above it. So therefore, this line here, I need to have something to mark that off. Now, I've already taken care of this. I extended this, so this is where the fire wing is going to be going. But of course, that we will be saving for the next episode. So just want to see, is there anything I can do here that's quick before we go? I would think that anything special would be made out of spruce. So let's begin with something as basic as that. Just putting some, let's make a few more of these. Take a few slabs of spruce here, just put it around like that. Now the biggest problem with that, of course, is that it doesn't go too well with my interval for the this. I don't think there's no way it could work perfectly unless the light there was right on the line. I might be able to do something with that. So I'll just do it on the floor, maybe on the ceiling, but not on the walls. And the idea there is just change the wall to suddenly say you're now entering the domain of the pine. If I had really timed that right, maybe I should have just come down. I wonder, now I know in the original module it only stays one and then it goes down like that, but what if instead I have the stairs descend and reached to that point? Well, that's going to take a lot of moving to do, but I think I'm liking that idea. So therefore, we don't have sort of a arbitrary ugly mark here, but instead this is when you actually enter the greater temple point, the point where you reach the floor, you are at the greater temple, and this is when the benevolent buffs are received upon entering. I think I like that idea, but I don't think I'll be able to do that this episode, would I? Let's see. What I'll be doing is moving this in by 4. So I took out those 4 groups or 12 blocks down this way. This means that my flat area is going to be starting right here. That means just inside of the area that I have demarcated there. And at this point then, this is going to go up by the 6 where this used to go up, and then be a flat roof up from there where it'll meet there. And of course, I'm going to have to do that to this area also. In fact, I probably want to do this part first so that I'll be able to reach more easily up to the ceiling. I have moved the stairway all the way down to here, so now all I have to do is to plunk down some, not that stuff, some steps on either side to continue along this way, and now we will be able to get all the way back up towards up there, and we can, and then of course I could put the slabs as I am doing on that side in order to finish that up. Very good, and then I'll continue along there. Now we have this all the way across, but of course in the original we had an area that was open up on the side. The opening used to be here, but I felt it's too close to the stairs. And the landing was only by 3. That wasn't a problem, but now I think it is. So I'll move the landing over here. No good place to let all that stuff land, apparently. Oh. Well then. We're wasting a little bit of diorite on that. Not exactly that it's a humongously scarce resource in my base. Oh well. But this is going to be opening here. I am obviously going to need a means of handling that little situation when the time comes. And so for the time being, so I just have to do that. Oh, actually, once I get out here a little bit, I can handle it like that. Alright, good. Now I could just close this up, though I will have to deal with that little situation later on when I get to the next section. There you go. Nice and centered. And when we return next time, I will take care of the top up there, where it will come down and descend, and we'll have this in a nice neat pattern where then we will be all ready to return to the branches and take care of the fire branch, which is for the next episode of Pineleaf's Minecraft Welstopia.